Good evening. We'll go ahead and get started here. We're calling the regular board meeting to order for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. And if you would please stand for a moment of silence. We're going to discuss we're going to have a brief moment of silence for gun violence moment. Before we begin today's meeting, I'd like to invite you to join me in a brief moment of silence. This is a remembrance of the lives lost and forever changed by gun violence in our communities and across the nation. Let us honor their memory, stand in solidarity with those grieving, and reflect on our shared responsibility to build safer spaces for all. Thank you. Judge, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes?
Present.
Mrs. Gergen?
Here.
Mr. Vasquez? Here. Mr. Parker? Here. Mrs. Bartley?
All right, this time we have the Pledge of Allegiance, and we were recited by Old Weston Elementary. And the reader for that, if you'd like to stand, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and at this time, if you could please stand for the flag national anthem. Sorry, I'm done.
Facing the rising sun, the day we know, let us march on to victory.
Thank you. We're going to see it now from this morning. That's not going to be, I was not going to be singing in front of everyone here. All right, at this time I'll turn it over to Dr. Grant for Mission and Vision and Meetings. Rosa Parks Elementary. Thank you so much. At this time, I request a motion to adopt the February 24th, 2026 board agenda. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Gergen? Mr. Vasquez? Yes. Mr. Parker? Yes. Mrs. Bartley?
Yes. All right, section 2, our presentations, and we're going to turn it over to Ms. Mazer first.
Thank you and good evening. I'd like to congratulate The retirees for this month, if we have any of the retirees here, please come forward and shake everyone's hand at the horseshoe. We have Kristen Akapour. She's a CCSE resource student or teacher at ANSET with 34 years of experience. Cynthia K. Dean, a para at Oakdale with 31 years. Darla J. Engelhardt, food service worker 2 at Beverly with 27 years of service. Iris Ford, food service worker 1 at Raymer with 25 years of experience and service, I apologize. Beth Lapierre, kindergarten teacher at Old West End with 33 years of service. Jennifer Pilzecker, a kindergarten teacher at Raymer with 35 years of service. Abigail Ramirez, food service worker 1, 27 years of support to TPS. And Stephen A. Summers, phys ed teacher at Burroughs, 33 years, for a total of 245 years of experience and support to Toledo Public Schools. We wish them all well.
Thank you very much. And then I'll turn it to my colleague, Ms. Barnes, for Black History Month Certificate of Achievement.
Thank you, President Farley. So it is my honor to recognize people who have taken up space, not only for Black excellence, but also empowerment of the community in different ways. This has been going on for several years. We want to recognize, give flowers, and yes, men here give flowers, so don't forget take. So we want to be able to show that this is a community and the school district is a part of that. And for anyone who is wondering, we do this for other awareness months as well. So next month, please come back for Women's History Month in March. So I will begin with our first recipient that was nominated throughout the process. They were nominated throughout the process. So this wasn't just my pick, it was a combination of teachers, school, administration, cabinet members, and board members as well. And the first award we would like to award for community impact and leadership is Mr. Larry Butch Jr. And we're gonna take a picture of everybody in the back. So if we don't go in the back, let's have a card signed on the board. So don't get comfortable. I'm getting my steps in. The next recipient, I do want to say I take personally in giving him his flowers, not only because he is an amazing connector for families for our school district, but he actually poured into my own child. And so, and once again, I did not have a vote, so don't think it was just me. For Administrative Leadership and Service Award, we would like to present it to Dr. Ward Barnett. I want to give you your power. You can get two. You got your back up there. The next recipient goes above and beyond. Make sure that the board runs as smooth as possible, which I can tell you right now, that's not an easy task. But she does it effortlessly, with a smile, And she always makes sure that we know what to do, what to say as best as possible, make sure that our district is represented the best way. So for School Excellence and Dedication Award, I would present it to Ramsey Reed. Our next recipient has, it was like the first name blurred out when we were talking about student support and advocacy. Not only to make sure we are protecting our students, making sure they have access to health care, mental health, not health, health wellness, excuse me, mental health, emotional health. I heard he's almost like a big uncle, a father to a lot, and a big brother at the same time. And for that, I applaud you and award you, and the board will recognize you, Mr. Ryan Blades, for student support. The last recipient inspires me personally every day, challenges me to be a better person, a better school board member, and a better parent. I am deeply honored that when we're speaking of student leadership, that this young man's name was brought up. It's only a true reflection of the future that we are creating, and I'm so glad to be a part of that. And so for Student Leadership and Community Impact Award, I present from the board to Tyvon Barnes. I would like to open the floor for any board members that want to make comments.
I want to start off by saying congratulations to all of the recipients of recognition on today. Each and every one of you deserve that, not just because of what we see up front, but what we see behind the scenes, the work you do, the hands and the lives that you touch. Continue to be impactful, influential, and again, we celebrate each and every one of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say to everyone, all the recipients, is congratulations and well deserved.
Thank you. I want to thank Ms. Barnes and the Bridge Committee for filling the room, but with people who are here to get their flowers and to support one another and to have a positive moment in the time of crisis that our district is in right now. It's really nice to see the room full of people who are here to support one another and appreciate the Bridge Committee's efforts to get you all here for this board meeting. Thank you. I don't
know if I can add on to anything that my colleagues haven't already said. I guess it's the right of being president, right, to get the last say. Certainly, we want to thank those that are in attendance today, congratulate those that have received their flowers today. I will just tell you from a personal standpoint, I feel that I owe you a debt of service for what you're doing for our students each and every day. So thank you.
This makes me happy that when we have this discussion every year, and not necessarily just for Black History Month, but any awareness month, all the names that come up. And I won't say we fought, but it was a strong debate about how, who, where, what, because we have so many people in our community, in our school district that is worthy of flowers and so much more. And so I just appreciate you all, not only as a parent, but as a school board member, because you are making us TPS proud and our community stronger. So thank you so much, and happy Black History Month.
At this time, if we could ask those that received their flowers today to go to the back where their TPS Proud banner is, and we'll take a picture.
Never got flowers before.
So you can take pictures? Yeah, we're gonna take a group shot first with the authorities, and then we're gonna take a ready to wave it over. That's they stayed up waiting for. I drove here. I drove here for me. I don't think I remember like I don't know that way through all the other That's what I mean. How are you? It's 21. I didn't notice until I got yeah. No. I used to say my feet like that.
Thanks. Thanks. We're at. Okay. Oh, you got it. I didn't look. I just looked. My favorite people.
Oh my gosh,
Hey, girl. How's school going? Good. How was school going? Oh, for real? Oh.
yeah, the light ones.
Right.
You look good.
Yes, they are.
I didn't tell
They somebody look like this.
well, you know, take your dance over.
Oh, for real? Okay.
Don't be doing that. I'm calling. Yeah, he's still on lunch.
Got you. Oh, hey! Oh my God! Good to see you. Oh my God, so good to see you. How you doing, Jay? Oh, for real? Oh my gosh, I gotta tell you all about social generation history and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can move back.
Oh, for real?
I have weekend. I know. I love it.
And then, Mom, can you take a picture?
Really? Okay. Hi. Okay.
Dr. Warren Barnett. Thank you, Jerry. You can't hear it. Oh, can you hear me now? Is that better? We'll take just a moment since there is a station in the back.
How are you? Good to see you.
It was 99-30.
Yeah, I went down.
I seen you when you was walking. I was like, where did he go?
All right.
David sitting down like he about to fold. He about to fold, man. So what's
Yeah. So,
At this time, we're going to go ahead and move into the rest of the board meeting. Section 3, which is community comments, and we do not have any for this evening. Section 4 is our organizational input, and we will start with our student representative. We have Raquan Davis, a 12th grader from Bowser High School. Welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Raquan Davis. I'm from Bowser High School, student representative. I'll be talking about my highlights from my school years. Starting off, I'd like to say a few highlights I've had at Bowser are friends that I've made, and the faculty that has become part of my support system. The TPS program SMART helped me to advocate for myself and my classmates to help bring change to my school. I have been involved in multiple organizations such as SMART, Quiz Bowl, the National Honor Society, Teen Outreach Program, and Music Plus, which I take at BGSU. I've also been involved in my Bowser's Choir and show choir. I've had multiple soloists at Bethel Church. I was also involved in the first annual TPS annual honors choir concert. Throughout my years, I've received various awards and recognitions. My freshman year, I was awarded Student of the Month and Student of the Year. My sophomore year, I was inducted into the National Honor Society. My junior year, I won the American Legion government test and received $200. This year, I won that same test again, and I'll be receiving $300. After high school, I plan to attend Bowling Green State University and major in music education. SMART has helped me gain the courage to be who I am and follow my passions, such as majoring in music. It's also taught me how to be a leader at my school, which I plan to continue when I attend BGSU. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to our parent representative, Ms. Tanika Harris. She's the chair of the Head Start Policy Council and District Parent Liaison.
Thank you. As she stated, hello, I am Tanika Harris, chairman of the Head Start Policy Council and alumni of Edinburgh German High School. This past week, which was yesterday, I was a part of a podcast about the importance of our early childhood education program and our core missions, purposes, school readiness, family empowerment, where we are now reaching out to families more. Because sometimes we can't understand their homework. So Some of us may need to be educated a little more on it. So we are reaching out even more for family empowerment, holistic. What else did we talk about? We talked about the different experiences that we're channeling with transportation issues and things like that, and possibly getting things back working so we can get more activity and support. Next, today, during our parent leadership meeting, we discussed TPS community meetings, which have been a blast. The next TPS community meeting will be held at Wade High School March 4th at 5 o'clock p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and Scott High School March 11th, 5 o'clock to 6:30 p.m. American Sign Language is provided for our deaf and hard of hearing community members and translation for our Spanish-speaking community as well. We also took the Transformation Plan 2.0 community survey and discussed how we as parent leadership teams can help get the QR code out to various locations and to more people. Thank you.
Thank you. TAP Representative, Mr. Ramirez.
Thank you. And I just want to say I'm still here. TAP's still here. We went through a rough month last month, February, and the 3 months preceding to that. And I know that we still have some rough road ahead of ourselves. I want to let you know I'm still here, and we're going to still check problems that we have and support the positive things that are happening. And I'm going to be working with you guys through that to make it better. Many of you know that I went to elementary school, middle school, high school at TPS. My siblings all went to TPS. My whole career has been TPS. My wife's career has been TPS. We have a vested interest in students and employees in the community and neighborhood. We want to make it better. So we are going to stay the course and get through this. It reminded me of, I was thinking about all the people that were here supporting, I think there was like 4 adults and 1 student, but to see the solidarity for everybody here during African Heritage Month. And I was thinking about civil rights and Martin Luther King. You know, one of the quotes he had said was, either we go up together or we go down together. And I think it was promising to see everybody here supporting them. And I think the combination between the civil rights movement and what's happening now in this country, what's happening with labor, that we need to stand up together to get through it. Thank you.
Thank you. TFT, Mr. Dalton. Is he here this evening? All right, ASPE, Mr. Dale Harper. Nope. Okay, we will move on to section 5, which are comments by the board. Mr. Vasquez.
Yeah, I just want to offer congratulations to all the recipients of the flowers and certificates. But I also want to take this time to thank our administration and our staff, community, and our labor leaders for doing all the work that we're doing right now in the community forums. I want to thank especially Ms. Barnes and Mr. Parker. I understand that the community forums are going well, and that is a large piece of work and challenge for you to do. I also want to mention our staff. I want you to know how much I appreciate all of you. You come to work and you make sure that the district operates on a day-to-day basis, and then you stay for all the meetings as well. I know that's not what we expect you to be doing at this particular time. You do it. You don't ask questions about it. You just do it. And I'll look over this way too, to the staff over here, same way. I want you to know how much I appreciate what you're all doing. So, and I really appreciate the community taking the time to come out in the evenings to be a part of all that effort. We will collect that information and we will take it in advisement to hopefully come up with some very good, positive solutions for the district. Thank you.
Ms. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to commend the district on getting halfway through the committee meetings, right? There are 2 more left or 3 more? Only 2 more than halfway through. I really do believe that it's going to make a difference. I've been able to make it to a couple of them and hope to get to 1 more. I think from my vantage point, I see my colleagues whose committee this falls under, they're like working it, right? You would think maybe they had a headset and a little talking, a way to talk to the folks that are running the show, if you will, making sure the PowerPoints are up and the microphones are just right. So they're really, paying attention to every little detail, and it shows that each one is, coming off even more smoothly. But importantly, we're getting people there. So people are coming and listening to the board's presentation or the administration's presentation, and then they're sitting at the tables and they're, trying to muddle through the difficult questions. So I think it will be very useful. I just need to say, as I have said, however many times since this crisis has begun, that as we navigate through this unprecedented financial constraints and potential school closures that are still coming, it's important that we really make sure that we're approaching this work with a trauma-informed lens, and that we name the real impact of these decisions. And I'm going to continue to name the real impact of the decisions, because we still have no choice to get the work done and keep our system stable and functional, even while we're trying to make our way through this crisis. And just that, moving too quickly past that acknowledgement, that this is a moral injury to a large group of people, and then further the whole community when we start talking about repurposing schools or closing schools or eliminating programs. We still have $50 million to cut. If we move past that acknowledgement too fast to just start talking about, how good we might be on the other side of it, I think it can unintentionally weaken trust. Even when the intent is to reassure, and we do want to reassure you that I believe our team is up for the challenge. But I think we need to be careful that we're not seeing this as, well, we just have to do more with less, because that's harmful. It's harmful to workers and it's harmful to families. It's really, the fact is we have to do less with less. And we have to have the grace and the acknowledgement of what that less is going to look like, so that we understand what we're getting into. Right? We're still talking about $50 million more in cuts on the other side of this, and I believe we are going to get through that, and we're going to have a plan that everyone can live with. Thanks to all of the community input into the hard work of our administration. We just don't want to let an opportunity go by that I don't name just how traumatic this really is, even though we're working hard to get past it. So I appreciate everyone's work, and especially excited to see these last couple of community forums, and the reminder to folks that even practically immediately after each one of the committee meetings, the results of that particular community meeting shows up on the website. So by the time the next community meeting is ready to tee off, the data from the previous one is on the website. So you can follow along and see what the table talks are bringing us in terms of data. You can see what that poll that our parent representative mentioned, that everyone is able to answer a few questions. You can see the results of that poll right away as it gets completed. And you can see the presentation for each community forum as well. And especially interesting are the deep dives our administration is going into on the enrollment data and capacity for each and every school building. It's fascinating. And when we start making decisions based, on deep data dives, I think we will have a better chance of those decisions making sense, right, to the community. And so, Dr. Deb, if I remember from, all those years ago when he came to TPS, it was, he had all the data up on his whiteboard in his office. You can be sure that his team is going to be looking closely at the data, especially those enrollment trends and, where the families are when they make the decisions going forward. So that's what I'm hoping that, we'll come up with something that makes sense when we're done with all of these meetings. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Madam President. There's a saying that I try to live by: a wise man knows in the midst of crisis, opportunity presents itself. And I think for me, this ties perfectly into Black History Month. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of noise, a lot of harm. And we have to sometimes take ourselves back and reflect. And as I'm reflecting, and sometimes that causes despair, sadness, to be honest, with attacks on public education. But I have to remember that we have blueprints because we have pioneers. And so that gives me some types of peace that, not that we've been here before, because I don't know if I like that. I don't know, we shouldn't even be back if that's the case. I think we have to understand this is a new harm, but we have the blueprints of how to dismantle harm and create peace, equality, and justice for all. And that ties into the Black History theme for this year, which is a century of Black History commemorations. And to know that greatness has been celebrated for a century. And don't get me wrong, we can go way back, but acknowledge and recognize on this land of great leaders. And I cannot say that without those great leaders being the first, that I would be sitting here. I've been on the shoulders of many great pioneers for education, like Mary Brown Martin in Cleveland. She used the first recorded, they say African American, I'm gonna say Black, this is Black History Month, but Black school board member in 1930. We have our own Dr. Samantha Adams. In 1978 was the first Black female school board member. And then the first Black school board member was Dr. Frank Brown in 1960. I can't not forget the most amazing human being I ever seen fight for education up until he couldn't fight anymore, Dr. Christopher Ellis, who was the first Black superintendent. And then also champions, because I often try to figure out what it's like to be the first. And so we also have Frances Irene Ambers in 1911 was the first Black female teacher for TPS. And when I'm thinking of first, I know it's hard. I know people are going to go against them. I know it's challenges that people don't see and they want you to still smile. And if anybody would be like, well, how do you know? Well, I am the first Black openly queer woman to run and win an elected seat in Northwest Ohio. So I am Black History Month. And this is why I think celebrating and telling stories, because we have so many great pioneers, Black excellence in this room, in this district, in this state. We cannot let anyone erase that history. So we must keep fighting for public education and telling the truth.
Thank you, Vice President Parker. Yeah, please, go ahead. Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. The joy of sitting in this seat is that everybody has already said what you were going to say. So I was writing and scratching off at the same time. But again, I want to thank OSN Academy, and I want to thank, I believe it was Rosa Parks, who presented for us today our pledge, our mission and vision, and to the honorees today, giving them flowers where they can see them and smell them. Ms. Barnes, thank you for always being intentional in making sure every month that we celebrate the representation of your public schools. Mr. Raekwon Davis, I want to say to you, sir, wonderful job, phenomenal job. You're a blue racer. And so thank you for all that you do and continue to do. And it's always a joy to have student representation during our board meetings. And what can I say about Ms. Tamika Harris, who I have known since diapers? And just to see you grow, your strength and your leadership is phenomenal. Your consistency with our parents is always appreciated. Thank you so much for that. My colleagues have spoken about something that I've taken a personal joy in. Initially, myself and my colleague, Ms. Barnes, did not know what it was going to look like to be able to do a community meeting, not knowing who would show up, what would be the temperature, to be honest, because many a times I think we are driven by uncertainty and we stand to misunderstand than to come to a understanding. And so as we have completed 4 of our community meetings up to this moment, thank you to our president, thank you to Mr. Vasquez for trusting us and our committee to be able to do this. And I believe my colleague say this as well, we are invested into these community meetings. There was somewhere I was supposed to be on Saturday, and I just made it in my mind, I wanted to be with our community, to make sure that we hear them, to make sure that they are not just informed, but that they are engaged. Mrs. Taylor Gergen, absolutely agree with her. As you go around the table talks and you sit and you hear, some things were a little tough to hear, to be honest, but I appreciate them being honest in the conversation and just the fact that we are there to listen, to hear. And I guess sometimes the struggle is we come to our board meetings, we share our hearts, and thank you all for being here, but we share our hearts to an audience that will never hear us. And so we watch it and we tape it, and we have 2 viewers, or maybe more now if people want to see what we have to say. But we still continue to be disciplined. We're consistent in what we do. Ever since day one, I believe, and I'm very biased, that we have one of the best boards of education with my colleagues because we stand on what's right even when it seems as if it's not understood. And so I'm thankful to each and every one of you. I'm thankful to our staff. Thank you so much for the effort that you put in. Thank you so much for, they probably won't say it, for putting up with us. Thank you for the double meetings, the mini meetings that, and you work hard. We work hard, and that can never be taken for granted. So just thank you all for all that you do as it relates to that as well. This is Black History Month, and Ms. Barnes kind of alluded to it. I was honored with Ms. Mazur this week on the TPS Proud Out Loud podcast to honor one of the greatest men that I've ever known, Dr. Crystal Ellis, and to be able to share the story, and just thankful that every first Friday in February, we take a moment to honor him. And I stand on his shoulders over the fact that even as he was my superintendent, he was consistent in one thing, the kindness that he showed to everyone, making everyone feel as if they mattered, no matter where they were, no matter what path of life they were on. And he would always say, I did not come to beat you down. I came to beat you up. You can't say that in this culture now because that's a whole other story. But to really understand that his goal was to make sure that you're bigger than any circumstance you face in your life. And so that mindset and that mentality has led me to have a heart and a drive to be in the seat that I sit in now. And from kindergarten to high school, I will forever be TPS proud. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know how I can follow all of those, but I do want to also recognize Old West End and Rosa Parks for the pledge and the mission and vision. Again, that's probably one of my favorite parts of the board meeting because we actually have students that participate. Many times, you know, we're not as lucky to have students come in and give a presentation and or perform here at the board meetings. So that was our way of like connecting to our students, and I'll take it every month. So thank you. Also to our retirees, 245 years is no joke. I applaud the retirees. We certainly could not do what we do without their efforts and their impact on our students. So thank you and congratulations to you. Raquel, can I just tell you, my mama's heart, oh my goodness, maybe not gonna be in tears. Also a Boucher grad, sent my daughter to Boucher, very proud to have you repping Boucher today. And the fact that you love SMART so much, this board really pushed to make SMART happen. And so to see the seeds that were planted and the fruition of that makes my heart very happy. So thank you, and we wish you all the best at BGSU. Congratulations to you. Ms. Harris, thank you for representing parents. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Coming from that parent realm, being a part of the PTO and the boosters and all of those things, it was fun, but it wasn't easy, right? It's not easy. So thank you for representing today. We certainly appreciate it. And Mr. Ramirez, I'm going to give a shout out to you because the one thing I will say, we always open up our board meetings for our labor leaders to come and give input. And you are consistent. You are here every meeting. I don't have to listen to that. So thank you. We appreciate you. And we know that you're TPS proud. Ms. Barnes and Bishop Parker, I'm going to give a little shout out to you for the Bridge Committee. What you're doing with the community forums is fabulous. It's exactly, I think, what we were hoping for. Listen, I would love to have more folks attend those meetings. You guys are doing whatever you can to get the message out, and I certainly thank you for your leadership. I never doubted one moment that you guys are going to handle it and you was proud. So thank you. And certainly the staff members listen, we have inundated you with meetings off the chart, right? We know this. And thank you for stepping up and doing what is in the best interest of our district. So thank you, we appreciate that. I do have something that I have written out. Sometimes I have to have words written out. It just makes it a little bit easier for me so I don't forget and I can get my emotions in check a little bit. It's hard to believe that in just a few days, it will be March 1st. Since the start of this year, this board and the administration have been working at an incredible pace. Our focus has been on developing a transformation plan that provides a clear strategy that allows us to deal with our current budget deficit while securing the future of our schools. I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us for the community meetings we've hosted at Woodward, Stark, Boucher, and Rogers. And we still have 2 meetings remaining at Wake and Scott High School. I strongly encourage you to join us if you can. And if you cannot attend, please fill out the survey on the TPS website. Your input is not just being heard. It is being reviewed by the administration, as well as the Oversight Committee and my colleagues, and your suggestions will help shape the final plan that the board will review and vote on in April. That vote takes place April 28th. As we move forward, we must remain focused on the facts, and that is to ensure this district remains solvent and strong. To do that, difficult decisions will need to be made. Unfortunately, that process has already begun. We've eliminated staff positions and reduced or cut some support services. While these initial cuts were necessary, it's important to remember this is only the beginning. The board has tasked the administration with presenting a plan that does more than just cut costs. We have asked for a plan that brings long-term financial stability and strengthens the educational opportunities we provide to our students. To achieve our goal, I anticipate that the administration's recommendations will include significant operational changes, including the possibility of school repurposing / closures, additional program reductions, and more staff cuts. We know that change creates uncertainty, and we understand the concern many of you may feel. These will not be easy decisions. However, they will be necessary. We must right-size our district and invest our limited dollars directly into the classrooms. As we continue to build on the transformation plan, I promise you, as president of the board, that we will maintain transparency and will share information with the community as soon as we are able. In the coming weeks, we will make our final decisions with one priority in mind, and that is what is in the best interest of our students, our district, and our community. All right, we're going to move on.
Madam President?
Yes, sir.
I want to, if I can I answer my comments? Sure. Yeah. Well, I want to acknowledge that in the crowd here or in the room, we have a state representative and we also have a city council person here who, for one person looking out into the crowd, it makes me feel good to have that kind of support. And we have good relationships with them and city council and also our state representative. Now in Columbus, we have one of the biggest advocates for Toledo public schools that we could ask for. And I do appreciate you being here, and I appreciate all your support. People probably have no idea the meetings that you have with us, the many times we come to you to ask you to be our voice down in Columbus, or ask you to be our voice at the city. I just want you to know we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member. That's good. I just want to also acknowledge that the state rep, I won't be anyone's her name, Senator, is also a history maker who inspired me to actually get into politics. And we still have debates on why she do that, but also she is a first Black pioneer as well here in Toledo.
Okay, any other board comments? Okay. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. The agenda items 6.01 through 6.23 are the consent agenda items. Board members may request to pull an item from the consent and move to the discussion section of the agenda. Item 6.01 to 6.04 is Human Resource Committee, Chair Polly Taylor Durkin, Co-Chair Randall Parker III. Item 6.05 to 6.11 is Budget and Finance Stabilization and Operations Committee, Chair Bob Vazquez, Co-Chair Chris Farway. Item 6.12 to 6.13 is Academic and Program Redesign Committee, Chair Polly Taylor Durkin, Co-Chair Chris Farway. Item 6.14 to 6.18 is Legislative and Policy Committee, Chair Chris Farway, Co-Chair Sheena Barnes. Item 6.19 to 6.20, Building Relationships and District Growth and Engagement, or the Bridge Committee, Chair Randall Parker III, Co-Chair Sheena Barnes. Item 6.21 is the Transformation Plan Oversight Committee. There's no action items this month. The Chair is Bob Vazquez, Co-Chair Chris Farway. Item 6.22 to 6.23 is approval of board meeting minutes. I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just a quick question on the minutes. Sorry, this is just the consent agenda.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right, so we moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick.
Yes. Okay, section 7 of the agenda consists of reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are here for information and reference. There's no action required, but you have a
I just
question?
have a question. I didn't see any minutes for the oversight committee on this list, so I don't know if they didn't get uploaded, but I kind of like the most important committee right now, so. Or I'm missing something.
They are 7.21 and 7.22.
But there's nothing uploaded.
They're 4 docs. You click, open up the agenda item, the minutes are there, it's a few minutes.
If you click on the agenda, they don't pop up. They probably are, I know they've been loaded, or they should be loaded on the website, but right now they're not. If you click on 7.21 for the Oversight Committee minutes, it's not popping up on our screens.
And you know, you can see in the other ones, there's a little document.
Yeah.
Document icon next to them, but those don't have a document. So there might have been a glitch. I just wanted to make sure to get there. Appreciate it.
I see what you're saying, because like, yeah, click onto it, it says view minutes, you can see it on, it's online, I think. Click it, click it, yeah, it says view minutes, then you click view minutes, and minutes are right here.
I know the minutes have been uploaded. I know that in some of our computers, they're not showing up. That's all.
It's just a glitch.
Yeah. Yep. All right, we're going to move on to section 8, which are discussion items. And 8.01 is resolution honoring Black History Month. And Bishop Parker, you're going to go ahead and read that for us, please.
Resolution honoring Black History Month. Whereas February is recognized as Black History Month, a time to honor the indispensable role Black Americans have played in shaping the United States and continue to shape our nation's future. Whereas Black history is not supplemental, optional, or peripheral, but foundational to American history and essential to a complete education. Whereas Toledo Public Schools serve as a community profoundly shaped by the leadership, scholarship, labor, creativity, and lived experiences of Black students, families, educators, and community members. And whereas the Board of Education rejects efforts to minimize, distort, or erase the historical realities, contributions, and ongoing experiences of Black Americans, and whereas recognition without action is insufficient, and real progress demands sustained commitment and accountability. Whereas the board unequivocally condemns discrimination in all forms, including practices that marginalize students based on identity, culture, or expression. Whereas public education has a responsibility to provide students with an accurate and inclusive understanding of history and to prepare them for informed participation in our democracy. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District that Section 1. The board formally recognizes Black History Month and affirms the enduring contributions of Black Americans to educate, civic life, culture, and social progress. Section 2. The board affirms its responsibility to ensure that Black history is taught accurately and honestly within the public schools as an essential component of American history. Section 3. The board reaffirms its commitment to learning and working environments in which Black students, staff, and families are respected, valued, and protected from discrimination. Section 4. The board commits to continued reflection, accountability, and action to advance success and opportunity for all students consistent with board policy and applicable law. Section 5. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from immediately after its adoption, shall supersede any prior resolution or act of this board which may be inconsistent or duplicative within the provisions of this resolution. And Section 6. It is hereby found determined that all former actions of this board concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution was taken in an open meeting of this board, and that all deliberations of this board and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you, Bishop Parker. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? You know what? I just have a small comment to make about this. You know, I was doing some history, and we're fortunate in this district that we have a teacher that is also a historian and has done so much work in our district. And one of the things that I've paid attention to, besides all of the board members and how many women and all of those things, one of the things I paid attention to was that our first African American student, first Black student, was in 1874. No, we opened our doors in 1849. And it took till 1874 to make that happen. So I think it's just important that we recognize the history in this district, right, as we move on. So we'll go ahead, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Gergen,
Yes?
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick,
Yes. All right, we're going to move to resolution opposing House Bill 42, and we'll turn it over to Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Madam President. Resolution imposed with Ohio House Bill 42. Whereas the Board of Education of Toledo City School District, the board is committed to ensuring that every student is treated with dignity and respect and is able to attend school in a safe, inclusive, and welcoming environment, free from fear, intimidation, or discrimination. And whereas the United States Supreme Court has long held that all children are entitled to equal access to a public education regardless of immigration status. And whereas Ohio Bill 42, HB 42, introduced in the 136th General Assembly, would require public schools and other state agencies to collect and report highly sensitive school information that is wholly unrelated to education concerning the citizenship or immigration status of individuals they serve. And whereas the Federal Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also known as FERPA, strictly limits the disclosure of personal identifiable information contained in students' education records and prohibits release of such information absent parental consent. A valid judicial order or another narrow federal exception. And whereas HB 42 will place school districts at serious risk of violating FERPA by mandating the collection and reporting of immigration-related student data in conflict with the law, which would expose districts to the loss of federal funding and legal liability. And whereas House Bill 42 would undermine the trust between Toledo Public Schools and the families it serves, predictably chilling enrollment, attendance, and family engagement, and erecting unlawful and unnecessary barriers to education access for vulnerable students. And whereas the board rejects policies that stigmatize, target, or endanger students or families based on actual or perceived immigration status, and that diverts scarce educational resources toward non-educational enforcement objectives. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Education of Toledo City School Districts that the Board of Education of Toledo City School Districts strongly oppose Ohio House Bill 42 and any similar legislation that mandates the collection of disclosure of immigration or citizenship information by public schools. The board, section 2, the board affirms its unwavering commitment to protecting school privacy, complying with federal law, and ensuring that Toledo public schools remain safe and welcoming environments where all students can learn and thrive without fear. Section 3, the board reaffirms its constitutional, legal, and moral obligation to educate every student and to oppose legislation that undermines that obligation. Section 4, it is found and determined that all formal actions of this board relating to this resolution were taken in compliance with all legal requirements, including section 121-22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. I'd like to request a motion to approve the resolution opposing Ohio House Bill 42.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just want to thank you for bringing it forward, acknowledging that we have a mission to educate all students who come to our doors, and to do that without question. So I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Ms. Gergen.
I guess I just want to highlight the word chilling. Right? A bill like this would have a chilling effect on our community's ability to access their constitutional right to public education. And so hopefully they will hear our pleas, and in any case, I think this district is going to protect our students every way that we can legally do so. So I appreciate that.
Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Madam President. I think again, we got to start naming the truth. And when you are discriminating against anyone based on something that's different from you, it's a form of white supremacy. And it is a saying that laws stand for legally allowing white supremacy. And we have to be careful of what we think is right is also is not an injustice to some. And so, once again, we are in this crisis across Ohio, across the country. School districts are in financial crisis, trying to figure out how to be the best for the students and everything. And we have state officials more focused on discrimination and being a bigot than actually caring about the students' education. It's frustrating, and I'm glad that we are standing up as a board together. And I will say, I know it's not easy, because when you stand, sometimes you stand alone. And that comes with your own isolation and your own discrimination and sorts. So, but I thank my fellow colleagues for still standing in spite of, because we know what's best for the students as far as protecting them and to give them equal access to education. And I am so proud to be a part of this district that makes sure and will keep ensuring that all students have a high quality education here at TPS.
Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you, Madam President. I agree with all my colleagues, and I support this resolution as well, because I believe that our responsibility is to protect every child's right to learn in a safe and welcoming environment, and not to collect information that puts families in fear. And so I support this. I stand for student privacy, equal access to education, and policies that build trust with families in our district. I just can't support any legislation that forces our schools to act as immigration enforcement instead of educational institutions. And so that's what our job is, to make sure that our students have every right to learn in a safe, welcoming environment. So I support this resolution.
Thank you. I'll just add that, listen, every student deserves to feel safe and welcomed and able to learn in our schools. This is going to place undue just the idea of what it's going to do for our staff, for the teachers, and for our principals, and our administration here. Just the thought of that is insurmountable. Listen, at the end of the day, it's government overreach yet again. Government overreach. It goes beyond that even. So I will also be supporting this, and I'm really glad that we have a committee now that we are going to focus on legislation that we can address. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gergen.
Yes?
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick.
Yes. All right, we are going to move to the 5-year forecast, and I'm going to turn it over to our treasurer, Brian Schulte, at this time.
Okay, so in the last biennium budget, the legislators changed our filing requirement. Previously, it was November and May, and now it is August and February. So this is an update technically to the October one for this time. So, starting through it. The purpose of the forecast is it's used as an early warning system down at the state level. It's to provide support for 412 certificates that we have to file and sign when we make financial commitments. And it's also a tool that we can use as the Board of Education in the community to have discussions on our finances. What the forecast is and what it is not. It is a forward-looking financial model. It is based on current law, contracts, enrollment, and cost trends, and it is updated regularly as assumptions change. It is not a single-year budget, and it is not prediction perfect certainty. So since October, I guess I'll back up. When we followed our forecast in October, we were placed into pre-caution. And then we submitted a plan to get us out of the precaution. One of the requirements with the precaution letter was, once they approve the plan, our forecast has to match the plan. So the changes to the forecast are putting the state approved plan into our forecast. So we know that our mid-year cuts that we did some staff reductions, some contract reductions. What that means is we either suspended contracts or canceled contracts that we were in. We had reductions in PFP, mainly nurses, social workers, and we returned some teachers to the classroom. One thing I want to point out on the nurses, we did not have full-time nurses. ProMedica then provided support to have a full-time nurse in each building. That support has since dried up, so we no longer have that support from ProMedica. So that's kind of the reason why we're doing that. And then we had some reductions in ASME. Mainly in the ASME area, it's going to be overtime. The majority of that was. And then the last item is general fund reallocations. What this is we looked at our grants, and we look to see if there's anything we can do from our general fund or operating fund to the grants. And that was to the tune of about $2.5 million. So our mid-year reductions totaled $7.8 million. Next year's in the plan, we need to reduce another $60 million. Right now, we're looking at reductions in TAP. We're going to review more contracts and see what we can do with those. We'll renegotiate them and or eliminate them or suspend them. We will have TFT reductions in ASME. Definitely look at our grants again, but also on the allocation that we receive from the federal government. We have central administration cuts. We're looking at transportation, school repurposing, and then supplemental / equity supplements. So let's look at our revenue. So you can see on the chart there that 62% of our revenue comes from the state, then we have 33% from local, then all of the revenue is 5%. For the state, or for property taxes, the way it's calculated is 35% of the home's value is what we're taxed at. So for a $100,000 home, the assessed value is $35,000. So then the way we determine our taxes is it's in mills or millage. 1 mill is $1 per thousand assessed value. And there's 2 types of millage: inside millage and outside millage. Inside millage is unvoted, and there's 10 mills that's assessed to the county, and it's spread over the taxing authorities of the county. Outside mills or millage or levies that must be approved by the voters. So simple calculation for a $100,000 home, the 10 mil levy is 35 times the 10 divided by 1,000, so it's a $350 tax. One thing that affects our taxes is House Bill 920. It was passed back in 1976, and the purpose was to prevent automatic tax increases. So what happens here is as property values go up, there's a reduction factor that's applied to our levies. that will reduce the levy, that it will only generate the same amount of money that it generated in its past. For state aid, it's the whole school funding plan that's what's used to fund schools. The first step is they figure out what the cost of a basic education is. So they take the data that we submit. I just use classroom teachers. They take classroom teachers from around the state, figure out the average, and then they apply it to class sizes that are predetermined in the form. From there, they determine how much the local community can contribute. So they look at property values, income levels, and they come up with a state share amount. And then from there, they take and they subtract the total cost minus what the local share is. That comes to meet your state funding. One of the major components of this is obviously enrollment. So our enrollment over the past 5 years, you can see we were declining by 300 students. Then last year, fiscal year 25, we increased by 200, and this year we're down 300. So for the forecast, we're showing declining enrollment as we go on. Are there any questions in regards to revenue? On the expenditure side, 83% of our expenses are on salary and benefits. 11% are purchase services. These are things such as utilities, contracts for services, transportation, and special education support. And then we have all other, which is 6%, which is your supplies, capital outlay, IT, buses, and that nature. If you look at expenditures in a different lens, we can look at instructional costs. Instructional costs includes our regular instruction, special education instruction, career tech, adult and continuing education. Items that are included in here are items that are used to educate students, that would take technology and things of that nature. 52% of the budget is in that area. When you look at support services, which is 45.5%, those are supports that we can provide students, the teachers. It includes the administration, education, fiscal and business services, transportation, and contracted services. But basically, it's everything that allows the district to run and the teachers to teach. Then we have extracurriculars, that's 1.5% of our forecast here. Extracurriculars are your athletics, clubs, things of that nature. And then facilities and acquisition, which is 1%. That's basically repairs and maintenance. We are looking at site improvements or site acquisitions. Question on expenditures. So in review revenue, we're not expecting any large valuation increases that we've seen in the past. We're predicting that we'll stay at our 96% collection rate. We're showing an enrollment decline of over 300 students each year, and we're not projecting any significant increases in state aid. On the expenditure side, our salary and benefits are controlled by our collective bargaining agreements. Currently, we have 4,103 staff members, of which 3,100 participate in our health insurance. And then we have inflationary growth in most areas. So with the February submission, this report here matches the plan that we was approved back in December. So there's no change to that. So what happens if nothing changes? So what happens if we don't meet our plan or follow the plan? There's three things that can happen. We can enter into fiscal caution, fiscal watch, or fiscal emergency. Fiscal caution, state law, risk guidance, and support. When we look at fiscal watch, they get a little stronger on their oversight, more financial reporting required. And on an emergency, that is when there's a state-funded oversight committee, there's a recovery plan, and we start losing local control. What can we control? We can control levy requests. We can control levy or amendment fees for facilities, athletics, preschool. We can look at grants and other community partnerships. On the expenditure side, we can control our staffing levels and class sizes, salaries and health insurance, as long as we're following CBAs, purchase service and vendor contracts, the programs we offer, electives, and extracurriculars. We can look at efficiencies in transportation and operation, and also look at our utilities. We cannot control state funding formula. We cannot control what we'll receive from the federal government. We cannot control what the property evaluation changes will be, and we don't control our enrollment shifts in demographics. We also don't control our STRS and SVRS employee contribution rates. That one has me nervous because the retirement boards keep reducing the age requirement or the years of service. We're down to 31, I believe. And to me, they're taking out the largest contributors, so people that retire at high salaries, and replacing them with the lower salaries. But they're increasing the number of people in retirement. So interesting on how they will deal with that without making increases. We cannot control our special education mandates that we must do. Utility insurance, they market prices just like everyone else. We have the inflation on goods and services. So overall, the forecast matches the plan that we've gone over a few times already. So I'll just ask if there's any questions or comments.
I have some questions. You had a few slides about, the state oversight and the state caution. So if you want to, so I'm back at this slide. The fiscal caution is the early warning. We were kind of in a precaution. We weren't officially designated as being in fiscal caution, right? So we had an opportunity to keep ourselves from getting to fiscal caution. The plan you sent to the state has satisfied that?
Yes. When we submitted the plan to the state approved it. So that if you meet this plan, then you can stay on these.
And so that plan is now incorporated into this 4-year forecast that is due, because it's naturally due again in February.
Right.
So that plan, at least plan A, the main plan, right,
Yep.
is in the forecast. And that forecast will, if we do everything that says in the forecast and bring our spending down, shouldn't trigger any more letters from the state.
Right.
So at what point would we be back in jeopardy, like for fiscal caution or fiscal watch? Is if they don't actually get to the near 50 million in cuts, or how does it get triggered again?
So we triggered again turning in our August forecast. So right now there's oversight, but the state is not requiring us to submit financial reports on a monthly basis or quarterly basis. So once we submit in August, they'll be able to see where we stand at that time. And then if we meet the requirements for one of the 3 designations, then they will place us in that designation. One thing I do need to point out, on the state plan, we are allowed to make changes to the state. So we submitted the plan, which we are implementing, but if there's changes that could occur, let's say someone won the lottery and decided to donate $50 million to us. We could change the plan as long as we still meet the numbers. So it's it's not set in stone, but it is, we must follow.
We need to find out who's got that money free.
So everything's really based on the forecasts at this point.
Yes.
And unless we get to another level of beyond caution and watch, then they could actually start asking for access to our books and start. At what point does the state actually?
The oversight committee doesn't come into play until this school year.
So we have, yeah.
And it's 6 members. Director won't be down the state level. Places somebody, there's a citizen that the mayor puts in there, right? We should go.
But if we follow the plan and our forecasts don't show $50 million in deficits at least 4 years out, because that's how far out we have to forecast, right? For 3+, then we shouldn't get any further in the state's warning system. Okay.
Anyone else? Just a quick question to help me understand. So when we're talking about fiscal takeover, that's different from what happened at the Youngstown board. Is it something similar? It's academic, okay. But it's still the same type of effect where the current city board, even though this is financial, that's academic, we wouldn't have a say of what programs or resources we need financially because they wouldn't dictate that for us. Is that correct?
We start using local control, yes.
I just wanted to clarify so people understand that we're trying to do the best interest so people won't take over who have no interest in our district at all. Thank you.
I think one of the other points that I want to make is that right now, at the state level, there are some proposed legislation that ask us to do more in actually assigning staff to do certain things without funding attached. So if those things go forward, that could put us in further jeopardy because we have to fund those ourselves. So I want everybody to be aware of that, to keep an eye on that. I think that over history, you'll see that there are certain mandates, and believe me, some of them are very, very legitimate. They're trying to address some very legitimate concerns. There are some things going on that might be helpful, but what they do is they put it on the schools, but they never attach funding to it. So there's legislation that's being proposed, and we're working to try to deal with some of that, but that also has.
Once again, I'm going to piggyback off the work for basket because there's also legislation to dictate a curriculum that is mandated by the schools to teach. But if you don't teach it, it could be a fine. But they don't give us a curriculum. They don't tell us within the parameters of teaching is. So we're trying to still figure out what, how, who, where, and how we're going to give access to our students to. And sometimes it's not the most friendly type of curriculum. It's usually, I'm going to be good. It's usually what they're trying to say that we're doing is indoctrination about a thought or a process that they want. But they don't give us a curriculum and say, if you don't do this, you'll get a fine. So if we don't have a curriculum, and we have to legally go by what the state says for that curriculum, at least the guidelines, but we don't have one, we'll get fined. So if we don't have something, we're going to get fined. So that's another part of that as well, is where they're purposely creating stuff to make sure school districts who fight back, are getting fined, whether that's saying that vouchers are unconstitutional or we do not have a curriculum that you want to teach kids to go ahead and get married, don't go to school, but have babies, but in that order or whatever they want.
But we don't have the curriculum, so we're going to be fine for that too. So I just want to also name that as well.
Yes, Madam President, if I could also add that we generally use the terms state. It's not everybody. We have people here who are advocates, so I want to make it very clear. We have people, and generally, I think you can expect that the people that are here as part of our district advocate for us. And try to help us out, try to understand. We have regular contact with them, and what they do is have the courtesy to come to us to ask us questions about how it affects us before they propose something or they vote on something. That's one point. I think the other point I want to make is that when Mr. Stechoki said you can make changes, you can make changes to what you do, but you can't make changes to the number. The number is the number. How you get to the number are the changes that you can suggest or make. The number is still the number. So, in other words, if you don't want to spend $1 in a certain way, then you got to find $1 to replace it. So
I'm still kind of wrapping my brain around this notion of the forecast, right? I think you said it right there, right? These are all based on your best understandings. And at the risk of naming some information or words from people who may not trust the numbers, what can we say or how can we be prepared to answer a claim that the administration has manufactured a projected deficit fiscal crisis using the 5 through 4 kids model to do so? How can we counter this sort of claim? Where might we point to say this is not a manufactured crisis?
You would look at the assumptions, and then you have to, like, we can show them the documentation for our assumptions. So enrollment, it's a prime example. Last year it went up 200. This year it went down 300. When we constructed the forecast in October, we thought we were at the bottom and we actually were going up, so we kept it flat out for in October. When it came in, it went down 300. So now we are being more conservative. We're bringing it down 300 each year. So it all comes down to the assumptions. So
I guess that's the word that gives people a pause because, like, well, these are assumptions. These are forecasts. How do you really, how are we going to start closing schools over assumptions and forecasts?
Well, if we want to go back to state aid and the fair school funding plan, if the base costs aren't raised again, which costs $1 billion correctly, to do that from 22 to 24, I don't see the state being able to afford another $1 billion on top of that, so it'd be $2 billion. So if something changes in the state formula, we'd have to address it.
So
If it does change, we can change our assumptions.
the only thing that I would say is that the state can afford it. It's a choice they're making, right? So let's be very clear about that.
So unless the political climate changes, we can assume that's not going to change.
Yeah. You know what, something that I think, it was brought up in our oversight committee, and I think this is relevant to this conversation, and many people do not know this. Do you want to talk a little bit about the transportation for charter school students? What it costs us versus what we get from the state for that. What was it, 1,600 students, I believe it was? The tune up, I think it was, listen, it's just $1.8 million. 1.8 million is what we have to pay out to transport students, charter school students. And what do we get from the state? $550,000. That's an example of some of the things that when we talk about unfunded mandates, that's a perfect example of it right there, how it costs us additional dollars for students that are not part of this district. And year after year after year, right, that impacts the bottom line. So that's one example. Please.
Because I also want to, this is what you call defunding defunding public education. We have wrong meaning. But to go to Madam President's office, train of thought is we're paying our staff members to provide services that we don't get reimbursed for, and that includes our screening for disabilities as well. And that's why, and I can tell you as a TPS parent with a student with disability how frustrated I was because I couldn't get in to get screened. It took forever. And what I know now is because we have to screen students who do not attend TPS. And if we don't screen them, then once again, guess what? We're fined. So it's a play to defund public education, and they're going to be a death by a thousand swords. And so we're trying to figure out not the best. It doesn't feel good. I won't say the best thing we can do. It doesn't feel good. Trust me. I don't think anyone this day is go home at night and jump for joy at the choices, at the opportunities, lack of opportunity, excuse me, that we would have to go into. But we have to figure out something, or we will not have the school district because they're literally trying to get rid of public education. And Dr. Durant said in his presentation, but it is writing on the wall, not just in Ohio, across this country. Schools are closing. We have roughly 600 school districts in Ohio. And a national call I sit on, I had to report that we hope once this attack on public education is done, we have 400 left. So just think about that. And so we're not trying to hustle anybody or pull sheep, wool over people's eyes. We're trying to save our district the best way we can. Please, go ahead.
Madam President, if I can, in answer to Ms. Gergens, I think it's problematic in the sense that we do have to make, it's a 5-year plan. And you look at or 4-year, 5-year plan, but we're doing it for 4 years now. But you look at most businesses, and most businesses can't do that. Okay? That's a requirement for public education. Most businesses, the business world is so volatile, our funding is so volatile, but we're still required to do that. So we have to make assumptions 4 years out, okay, each year. There's pressure on us to change those assumptions because then what happens is that the state reacts to our forecast, which includes assumptions. Okay? And the pressure is, well, change the assumptions and then you look better. And I will tell you, as one board member, I want us to resist that at all costs because what you're doing, you're kicking the can down the road. And any business will tell you that you lowball your revenue and your high estimate is on your cost. You do that, that's the right way to do it, that's the way we're doing it. And as we pointed out, that can change. Those assumptions may change. Our enrollment may be better than what we think it's going to be. But we have no reason to believe that because you go back and you take the trends, and in the last 2 years, we're using those trends. It would be irresponsible for us to ignore those trends in our assumptions. So do people say that it's manufactured or that it's on assumptions and you should change the assumptions? That as one board member, I am saying to our finance, our treasurer, our superintendent, do not change those assumptions so that it makes it easier for us. We have a tough task in front of us. I understand that, but I think that our assumptions are reasonable.
I just want to say that I believe the state is betting against us, Ms. Barnes, and they're betting that we're not going to be one of those districts that are standing, at least in the traditional sense of local control. So for people to come to some peace with the number, you're suggesting that they go through those assumptions sort of one by one, and if an assumption needs a little more, a deeper understanding, or at least some reflection. Eventually you get to the list that they get through all the assumptions and say, yeah, this has to be the number. And so it's the assumptions and challenging those, if there's a place to challenge them and say, hey, Mr. Treasurer, show me why you are making this assumption. That's kind of where people could look to eventually come to some peace with the number is what it is, kind of thing. And that would probably be the route for someone to get to that peace for themselves or for those that they represent.
Yes, because our books are audited every year. So we have an audit every year. So it's the assumption that they would need that discussion.
Okay, I'm just trying to find a path to being able to accept the unfathomable, which is, $50 million more dollars. Just making sure I understand that.
Sure, and listen, people need to pay attention to what is going down at the State House. Our Senate and House representatives will tell you some of these bills are horrific, and they are going to have serious impacts on public education across the state, continue to have. There's a bill right now that they're talking about creating committees in each county to consolidate schools and governments. Did you guys just get goosebumps? Because I sure did. Just even thinking about it. I'm all about looking to cut costs and save dollars, and I'm a coupon cutter, but at the same time, we have to provide high quality education. And how can we do that if we're not able to invest, and the state is not investing in public education? It's some scary times ahead of us. All right, I'd like to request a motion then to approve. We're calling it the 5-year forecast or 4-year forecast? The forecast. We're just going to call it the forecast. Okay. So make a motion, please. Second. All right. So moved and seconded. Any discussion? That was our discussion. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Gerger?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yeah.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mrs. Barber?
Yes. All right, section 9 are walk-ins. Are there any walk-ins this evening? No? Okay. We're going to move to section 10, which is early childhood education action items. Chair Sheila Barnes, co-chair is Randall Barber III. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Barnes at this time. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Barber.
Thank you. I ask your approval of 10.01, amendment number 1, 2526.
I could call a motion to amend, to approve amendment number 1.
So. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Gerger?
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yeah.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mrs. Barber?
Yes. All right, section 11 of the agenda normally consists of early childhood education reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings. However, due to the meeting cancellation, there are none to report. No action is required, so we can proceed to section 12, which are early childhood education walk-ins. Are there any walk-ins? No. Okay, we're going to move on then to section 13, which superintendent comments.
Again, appreciation for the board coming out, staff members, as well as community members to the community event. We're 4 of 6. We have a few school districts across the state who are planning to attend. They're looking to model some of the things that we've done. So I'm not sure they must have read it in the newspaper or whatever else that is. So they've asked for the remaining dates, which is on March 4th, as well as March 11th, both one at Wake and the other one at Scott High School. Again, thank you for reporting that related to the county, who is now going to do the hiring for our students. That'll be taking place on April 19th at the Classic Center. So again, our students will be there for not only internship, but as well as employability as well. Again, update from Darren, gift card due to come in. So he's been keeping tabs and he's going to get his first home on March 1st. So he's excited, and Mom was progressing to doing her sobriety. So he appreciates TPS and the support TPS, well as the community has shown him. So again, TPS proud. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to piggyback on that, Dr. Durant, I think some of the school districts that are also looking at that, OSBA has certainly put out all that. We've done an excellent job in organizing. So I think that's also providing some of the school districts saying, hey, we need to see what they're doing up there then. Thank you. All right, Treasurer, any comments?
No.
All right, board members, final comments?
No.
Happy Black History Month and drive safe or be safe.
Be like Mr. Month.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to request a motion to adjourn, please. So moved.
Sorry.
It's been moved and seconded. It's extremely fast. Any discussion? Nope. All right, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Mrs. Gerber.
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yeah.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mrs. Barlow.
Yes.